Everyone has a theory for why you can't focus anymore. Phones, social media, sugar, lack of discipline. Some guy on YouTube will tell you it's because you don't wake up at 5 a.m. and look at the sun. None of that is wrong exactly. It's just not the actual reason. The actual reason is a lot more annoying because it means you can't fix it by deleting an app. So let's talk about what's actually happening. Your brain didn't evolve to focus on one thing for long periods of time. It evolved to scan for changes, movement, noise, anything new. That kept you alive back when the main threats were animals that wanted to eat you. Constant scanning was the whole strategy. Which is great for noticing a tiger, less great for reading a textbook. So your brain already had a short attention span built in. Now add decades of training it to expect constant novelty. And you've basically built a tiger detection machine that also happens to check notifications every 4 minutes. Here's the part that actually explains why focus feels impossible lately. It's not just that you're distracted, it's that your brain has recalibrated what counts as boring. Every time you switch from a slow task to a fast one, your brain logs the difference. Reading a book, then opening a video where the cuts happen every 2 seconds, then going back to the book. Your brain remembers the contrast. The book now feels twice as slow because your brain has a recent reference point for what fast feels like. This isn't really about willpower, it's recalibration. Your brain compares whatever you're doing right now to the most stimulating thing you did recently, and if there's a big gap, it gets restless. Not because you're lazy. Because the comparison feels unbearable. This is also why focusing gets easier the longer you avoid high stimulation content. Not because you developed discipline, because your brain stopped having anything ridiculous to compare boring tasks to. Now here's where it gets worse. Multitasking doesn't actually exist. What you're doing when you multitask is rapidly switching attention between tasks, and every switch comes with a cost. Your brain needs a moment to drop the context of the last thing and load the context of the new thing. That moment isn't free. It costs you focus, time, and a surprising amount of mental energy. So when you have your phone next to you while studying, you're not studying with light distraction. You're starting and restarting your focus dozens of times an hour. Each restart taxes you a little more. By the end, you feel exhausted, but you didn't actually do that much work. You just paid a constant tax on switching. This is why people say they feel tired but unproductive. That's not a contradiction. That's exactly what context switching does. You burn energy on the transitions, not the tasks. So how do you actually fix this? The first step isn't deleting your phone or moving to a cabin in the woods. The first step is reducing the contrast. If you've been on your phone scrolling for 20 minutes and then immediately try to read something slow, your brain is going to revolt. So build a buffer. A short, boring transition task between high stimulation content and low stimulation content. Even 5 minutes of doing literally nothing, staring at a wall, walking without your phone, resets the contrast a little. It's not magic, it's just giving your brain time to stop comparing. Second, you need to stop multitasking, but not through willpower, through removing the option. Put your phone in another room, not face down on the desk. Another room. The cost of getting up and walking to get it is just high enough that your brain stops treating it as a 1-second decision. This works far better than discipline because discipline runs out by 2 p.m. and distance doesn't. Third, and this is the one nobody wants to hear, you need to get bored on purpose. Regularly, without immediately filling the gap with something stimulating, waiting in line, no phone, walking somewhere, no music. This feels unbearable at first, which is exactly the sign that it's working. Boredom is the training ground for tolerating slower tasks. If you never sit with boredom, you never recalibrate what normal feels like, and everything continues to feel unbearably slow by comparison. There's also a structural fix that actually works better than most focus apps. Match the task to your actual attention capacity instead of fighting it. If your attention span has been wrecked down to about 10 minutes, don't try to force a 2-hour deep work session. You'll fail, feel bad, and reinforce the idea that you're incapable of focusing. Instead, do 10 minutes. Just 10. Then stop. Then do another 10 a bit later. Your brain slowly relearns that focused effort doesn't have to be miserable, and the sessions get longer naturally over time. This works the same way physical training works. You don't start with the heaviest weight. You build up. The most counterintuitive part of all this is that focus isn't a fixed trait you either have or don't have. It's a skill that gets reshaped constantly by whatever you feed it most. If you feed it constant high-speed stimulation, it adapts to expect that and rejects anything slower. If you feed it longer, slower tasks consistently, it adapts the other way. This also means the people who say they just can't focus anymore usually aren't broken. They're just currently calibrated for a different kind of environment than the one they're trying to operate in. The fix isn't more discipline. It's recalibration. And recalibration takes repetition, not motivation. So here's the actual plan. Reduce the contrast between high and low stimulation activities. Physically remove easy access to distractions instead of relying on willpower. Get comfortable being bored on purpose. And match your work sessions to your current attention span instead of the attention span you wish you had. None of this is going to feel good for the first week. Your brain is going to complain. That's normal. That's the recalibration happening. And yes, you're going to want to check your phone in the middle of reading this sentence. That's also normal. Welcome to step 1.